Good evening. Welcome to the Bitter Knitters podcast. It is Wednesday, June 6th, 2018. My name is Jacqueline. Arthur's here.
Hey.
And Ryan's here again. Thank God.
Wednesday. I love
Wednesday.
that.
It's a great day.
Yes,
Wednesday. Look, shut up, okay? I'm still on a lot of medicines that have not made me fully mentally there.
Honestly, are you really high on this one? Are you
No, I
phoning
wish
this
I
one in?
was. I wish I was. So let's start with a couple updates. We talked about the guy who got shot by the dancing FBI agent the other day.
Oh, yes.
Well, the story that came out today was the bar that they were in Colorado has offered this victim free drinks for life as long as the bar is open at Mile High Spirits. Yeah, I mean,
sold. All I gotta do is get shot by a cop and I get to drink for free. Like, where the fuck do I sign up?
Wait, but I'm kind of confused. Why are they offering him free drinks for life?
I guess they feel bad for him.
Well, they're the idiots that let an armed fucking individual into their fucking bar, then overserve the idiot to the point where he's backflipping.
But Arthur, I think I thought we all consensusly somewhat agreed that because he was an official, it's a little different. I don't know.
Yeah.
This, whatever. He gets free drinks. I'm jealous. Fuck you.
Here's the statement. Let me read the statement. Let's read the statement so we know. At Mile High Spirits, we pride ourselves on being a craft distillery with high quality products and an engaging customer
Doesn't
experience. In a fun and safe atmosphere. It is shocking that our only shooting ever to occur at our establishment came about as a result of an FBI agent entering our distillery tasting room carrying a loaded firearm without our knowledge in violation of our rules. As a result of his misconduct, one of our innocent patrons was shot. Our security team was able to execute a catastrophic event plan, ensuring a safe exit of all patrons in the establishment after the shooting. We are deeply saddened by the events that occurred and look forward to speaking with the representative of the FBI so that we can come to understand his presence and his need to be armed in our establishment. The whole team at Mile High Spirits is praying for the victim's quick recovery, and he's welcomed at Mile High Spirits to enjoy complimentary drinks forever.
Well, okay, quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if it was Jacqueline's tone reading that, but to me it sounded like they were kind of upset that this is the only shooting that's ever taken place
I
there.
know.
It kind of did, the way they said it. It's shocking that the only shooting to ever occur here.
I think that's your tone, Jacqueline.
Yeah, probably.
Might be.
I just have to say, first of all, that was very shady in a gay lingo way of the club. But the thing that kind of, I guess, confuses me is, now the question in my head is, does FBI official, do you trump someone not having a rule, or having a rule about not having guns? That's confusing to me now, because it's against the rules.
Now, I don't know the establishment, but every time I've ever gone to a club, not a bar, but like a club where you're dancing, you get checked. Now, bars, no, you just walk in. So if it's just that kind of place, I can see why he would have his gun and not have been searched, right?
That's true. Well, most clubs in New York, you do get searched. I will say that. You do get searched. That's probably why I'm a little bit confused, because I don't know, can you say, well, I'm an FBI official, I have to have my gun with me at all times? Can you?
But they said it without their knowledge.
Okay.
Maybe he just said, I'm an FBI agent, and so they didn't check him.
Yeah, because I'm kind of a little bit
Flash
confused
is bad,
about that.
I'm FBI, flash the badge, and in he goes, right?
That's my question. If any of the listeners actually have an answer to that, I'd love to know, because that's my main question: is can you trump that by saying, "Oh, I'm an FBI agent," or "I'm a cop," or whatever? I can bring in my gun.
Beat cop, I'd say no, but I believe like a federal agent, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just feels right, like the FBI, CIA, ATF, whomever.
They do have like a higher
right. They'd be able to be strapped the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But either way,
sorry.
It goes to show that guns and alcohol don't mix.
Don't mix, yeah.
Right? Like it's
do not.
fairly fucking simple. Like,
but
if this was an Aesop's fable, that's exactly what the moral of the story would be. This guy's probably going to
become an alcoholic with cirrhosis of the liver now, because free drinks for life.
Free drinks for life.
I wonder if there's is it 3 drinks a night? 10 drinks a week?
There's a limit.
What's the limit? Like, can he go in and be like, I want a bottle of Ciroc every night?
I don't know.
Well, can I tell you guys a little story about a bartender over here told me that because you have to get your bartending license in New York or whatever. I don't know. But you have to get this license apparently. But supposedly the limit on the drink that you're allowed to serve per customer is 10. cannot exceed that.
That's a lot. That's probably like our smart serve.
Yeah, it's absolutely smart serve.
10.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Unless the person, you can already tell the person's drunk.
See, I don't
right?
like that because, I mean, you have to take people's body weight into consideration with that. It's a fucking known fact that, like, well, that too. You know, 10 beers, like I'm feeling good.
I
but
go
I'm
to
not
weddings
fucking,
and then
you know,
mixed drinks are weak, and I drink like 10 drinks and I'm not even drunk, and I'm a lightweight.
Yes.
But no, I actually would be intrigued to know that too. Like, does that mean I get like the free fucking like, you know, smuggled in absinthe? Like, is that shit free? Because fucking shoot me tomorrow if I can drink that shit for free. Literally, like I will take a fucking bullet for that shit.
Maybe you could put a Craigslist ad, Arthur, or Kijiji, and just be like willing to be shot non-fatally in a bar to get
a police officer.
Drinks.
It has to be a police officer.
Or anybody. Oh, no. Okay.
No, because if it's just anybody, then it's just, you know, a fucking other crime statistic.
Yeah, but what if the bar still was like, we're still willing to give you free drinks?
I don't know. And I mean, then at that point in time, like, I'm sure I would go to jail because I'm saying, hey, shoot me so I can fuck the system. You know what I mean? Like,
is my sister's place still there at on Malaga Street?
The bar is still there. It changed ownership, and it's under a new name now.
Is it still like a scuzzy dive bar?
I mean, when it first opened up, it was really nice. I haven't been there in a couple of years. I can only imagine that I'd want to throw my fucking shoes out after leaving.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you could go there and get some free drinks for life.
No.
It's this dirty bar that we used to live across the street from.
But why would he get free drinks for life in there?
I'm just saying, like, maybe the Oshawa cop will shoot him in there.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's within walking distance. I'm just trying to help him out.
So I could hobble home with a fucking bullet hole.
Can I get shot in an Hermes so I can get free bags forever?
Oh, fuck.
No, they just give you the scarves, right? Not even the purses.
But like,
no, I don't want the scarves.
But like, this is a kind of a joke to us. But I mean, does this not set a bit of this weird kind of precedent where people might be thinking this? Like, we're like, maybe if I do get shot at fucking, you know, whatever, the Indianapolis 500 Speedway, and I get free NASCAR tickets my entire life.
Oh my God! At the NFL, you can get seasons tickets.
You know what I mean? Like, I could honestly see somebody doing that.
Yeah, I'd get shot all the time. I'd be like, shoot me everywhere. Just
exactly. Right? Just make sure I'm alive, and you know.
I don't need all my fingers and toes. Come on.
I don't
Fingers are overrated anyway.
Actually,
just leave me my nose picking finger, please.
A cool little kind of thing here. I had just recently actually learned this. You know, you guys are aware of like disability policies, right? Like for So if you take out a disability policy personally, like your own, depending on what kind of work that you do, again, this is where this comes into play, because she said fingers, like my line of work, I'd have to be completely disabled to even use that crap.
Yeah.
But like, let's say a mechanic, you know, he's disabled on
like
one
Scott
hand.
is an electrician.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. What the fuck?
Oh, I'm a cashier. What about me? I need fingers to press buttons and.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit different. Scott's work is a little more, you know, a little more skilled.
Definitely more skilled.
Shit tons of fucking teenagers that could.
And robots taking over.
Yeah, and the robots, right?
Because like I was saying to my boss, I'm like, this is so unfair. I have to be physically disabled to get money.
You should insure your breasts, Ryan. Make sure that they are always perfect.
Oh, that's true. Well, unfortunately, I cannot do that because I got my implant taken out. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, still they still look probably perky and good.
Of course, they're beautiful.
Okay, so let's move on and have some more updates on the big news we talked about a lot this year on our show, legalized marijuana in Canada. So this is now, originally it was supposed to be July 1st. Doesn't look like it will be July 1st or 2nd, probably sometime mid-August, but you know, it's very close to happening. But a study came out yesterday. I guess they surveyed some people, only 15,000 Canadians, but still, you know, that's how they get their figures. 2/3 of the people say they're still willing to buy legalized pot, even if it's more expensive.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. That's a fucking lie. That's a bold-faced fucking lie. That's bullshit. If the government comes at me with fucking subpar quality, or even the same fucking quality I can get on the black market, but expects me to pay $12 to $15 a gram, they can suck my fucking dick. I'm going to the black market. Seriously.
What's a gram? Okay, first of all, what's a gram? Because my definition is, remember, there's 5, 10, 20, and then like the big stuff. Bags. Like the 5 is like, I think, enough to roll a blunt, as far as I'm aware.
And that's
like a dime bag?
Yeah, like a dime bag.
That's what we used to call it back in the day. I remember people would be like, I'm going to go buy a dime. And I'm like,
yes,
what?
a dime.
Yeah, that's one of the weird stoner lingos. Yes, that's a gram. That is, 1 metric gram of marijuana. Because remember, I mean, all drug fractions are done in the metric system.
And how much? Yeah, because it's more, smarter.
Exactly.
How many joints, normal size joints, would you get with a dime?
With me?
Gram?
Oh, I would get 2 because I'm not a fucking I'm not a fiend with the shit.
Oh, so you're not making like a giant
no, fuck no, that's stupid as shit. But no, everything that I've seen, everything that I've been reading indicates that they're going to be charging $12 to $15 a gram, plus whatever provincial tax is added on top.
That's a lot.
That is stupid as shit because I can go pay $10 per gram from a fucking black market dealer and get bomb quality, like shit that fucking, makes me want to eat someone's face or something. Like, and I mean, like real good fucking dope.
Okay, well, this is saying now the respondents said they're willing to pay an average of $8.98 per gram for legal weed. And that it would have to rise to about $14 per gram before they would stop buying it legally.
Yeah, but who are they fucking talking to? Are they talking to a bunch of business dicks down in fucking Front Street?
1,500 average people.
What define average though? Did they go down?
They didn't give me a listing of these people.
This is my issue with these marijuana surveys that the government's doing. Show me who you're asking. Did you go down to a marijuana march and talk to the guy fucking with a 5-foot bong and a fucking red wagon? That's the guy whose opinion I want, because that guy smokes a fucking ounce a day. That's who I want to know. You know what I mean? People like me. Our opinions are worth so much more than some fucking douchebag that thinks he knows politics and wears a fucking suit and tie every fucking day.
Well, and people who aren't regular users, if somebody only smokes maybe once a week or even once a month, right? It doesn't matter if they spend $20 on a gram, because it's not a lot of money to them. But if you're somebody who smokes a gram or 2 a day, then you're going to be a little more skin-flinting with your money.
Well, but that's a good point, though, that Arthur makes, because I think, okay, so cigarette prices in New York have gone up I think the last 5 years. It's like we're like up to 13 now, and they did surveys on this, and they were like, "Oh, some people were willing to pay 15," and I'm like, if you're making $10 an hour, what the fuck? Like, you'd have to work an hour and a half to get a pack of cigarettes, and before taxes at least. Who the fuck are you asking? 1,500 people? That's not a lot. Is it 1,500 or 15,000?
1,500.
That's what
with all these polls. They only poll a very small amount, right? And then they kind of make that into your average. Clearly, that's not a true representation of all of Canada.
Of course not. It's a small number to ask.
Yeah, but it should be interesting to see, like, what are the sales going to be? If they're saying that if this is true and 2/3 of Canadians are buying legalized weed, they're saying that you could get $4.34 billion in sales next year alone.
That's a lot of money.
It's going to be a shit ton of money. A lot of money is going to come in. But if they don't handle this correctly, and I literally do mean this, if they don't handle this correctly, it's going to fucking cripple this whole idea. Because people like me, who are daily marijuana users, refuse to fucking spend more for government fucking dope. Like, it's not going to happen until they prove that their quality and the caliber and the consistency of it is on par with what we can get on the black market.
Especially here in Ontario, like we're saying, because it's all going to be controlled by the government. In places like, I believe, Manitoba, and I think
PEI or New Brunswick said flat out pure privatization, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's New Brunswick. Yeah, and so it's going to be an open market. So you're going to have a lot more kind of companies that are going to be able to specialize and make different strains and different potencies and stuff, which I think is only going to help them in the long run.
Absolutely. Again, this whole thing's a shit show. The fact that they are leaving it up to a province by province basis, to me, is just an absolute shame. It should be one law across the board. Because even now, so let's say that, I'm in Ontario. Now this shit, I mean, it's not medicine. I just use it to fucking escape reality. But now it's my medicine. But Quebec has real stringent laws, and now I can't fucking, like the girl we were talking about with the migraines, with the little boy with the migraines.
Yeah.
I cannot go without my fucking medicine, or else I have a debilitating fucking issue. Now, I can't cross a provincial line with my fucking medicine because your stupid fucking rules saying that, it can only be this potent, or you can only have, whatever the fuck the parameters are.
Yeah.
I've been saying this since the beginning. I don't like how we're going about this, because to me it's a fucking sham. It's not it's not what it should be.
I really hope in 5 years' time that they change it here. I doubt they will, because they're going to want that stranglehold on the money. But I would really like it, because they're going to get even more. This is the thing. People that are occasional users, right? Like somebody like myself, say I want to go out and buy some, right? I'm going to go to the Cannabis Control Board. That's where I'm going to go.
Yes,
I don't know drug dealers, right? I'm going to go there. I don't.
I'm
well,
just
I
laughing
do
the way you
want,
said
I guess, but she's out of town.
Sorry.
But so I'm going to go to a place like Cannabis Control Board. Now, if they had a tea house or a shop nearby, then I might go, oh, well, they have tea that I can make at home, or they might have some cookies. I'm going to try that too. But I'm still going to go to Cannabis Control Board to get the actual, buds.
Yeah. The flower. Well, again, like, I have a lot of concerns about this. Now, the fact that they're barring edibles, to me, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So somebody,
because now you're making people smoke still.
Well, here's the thing, right? So we know that cannabis is a very effective, not medicine against cancer, but it helps people going through chemo fucking develop an appetite again, right? Now, I have lung cancer. Why the fuck do I want to inhale more smoke knowing that smoke gave me fucking lung cancer?
Yeah.
But you're telling me
say they will
I
at
can't
some
get my medicine?
point get into the edibles, but we don't know how long that's going to be. And you're right. If you're somebody, or just somebody who doesn't want to smoke, what if you have asthma?
There it is, right? There's so many fucking variables to this that the only way this truly honestly works is full out legalization with zero parameters.
Lots of options. And and then not only just that, with all the money you're making, you can hire, the public licensors and inspectors to go in and make sure that the standards are up to, what they should be.
Well, but I kind of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I make your point, Ryan.
No, I kind of have a theory, maybe, and this is a maybe. Again, I'm kind of only looking at this from like that standpoint of what the government might be thinking, that maybe we have to see how much we're going to bring into this. I think they always look at things in like a 5-year period, and then maybe later on say, okay, maybe we can introduce edibles and stuff like that. Because I don't know. That's just my opinion on maybe.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. They want to start and see what people are coming in and asking for too. So when I go in there and if I'm like, when are you going to bring in some gummies? They're going to pass that along, and how many times a week are people asking for gummies? I'm sure they're going to have to fill out information like that.
Well, but then law-wise, it becomes so messy. Because you think about it, if you use that and then you extract, the cannabis itself and turn it into, edibles or whatever, can you go to jail? Because then that form is technically not legal.
Yeah, it's narcotics at that point in time. It's now a manufactured drug.
Exactly.
It's as I keep saying, this whole thing's a shit show. I do not like how our government's going about it.
Yeah.
All the info, like what you were just saying there, Ryan, has been given to us already. Colorado's had legalized weed for how long? We've seen the pitfalls. We know what the fuck to expect. And they're all private. You know what I mean? Like, the government don't fucking subsidize shit that is all privately owned, and they're still raking in insane amount of tax dollars.
The government makes so much money in Colorado from that.
It's why I'm so mad about this whole privatization of it here, or the government's subsidies of it here. It really bothers me.
Well, but I think if this were to happen in the United States, and I kind of see this happening in the next decade or so, it's going to be a complete shit show because, again, there's this whole government versus the states, right? Or the top feds versus the states, because all of a sudden, each state gets to decide what you're going to do. So you can't tell a person who's traveling, let's say, to maybe New Jersey, who has a little bit more opener or like laws that are a little bit more open. It's either a New Yorker, you can't travel with that because you're crossing it with state lines, which can happen. So I kind of wonder how this is going to play out in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? We're the big testing ground. We're the only G7 country that is going to have legalized marijuana across the board.
To border.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are the testing ground. And you best believe that American policymakers will be paying attention fucking hugely to how this goes. I can't blame them. I would be doing the same. I have been doing it since Colorado legalized it. Because I wanted to know how this was going to fucking go down. My issue, again, is the government stranglehold. You know, every few years here, because we have a liquor control, right? So the government has a complete monopoly over our liquor. So every few years, they go on strike. Because, you know, the $38 an hour these people make selling wine isn't fucking good enough. So they go on strike. Now, whiskey isn't a medicine. There's nothing anyone can ever say that's going to make you say whiskey's a fucking medicine. Yeah. But marijuana is a medicine to a lot of people. So they go on strike. It's the only way they can get their fucking medicine. And we're at the government's whim? Fuck that shit. Yeah. Are you fucking like, no, that is not.
Then you better make it an essential service.
Yeah, right?
I think this is I think this is kind of a crazy thing now, because that little small point that I made, and I hope it's a valid point, Arthur, and I'm sure I used the whole term of it wrong, cannabis, but it's going to be very, very messy, because if you buy the buds and you all of a sudden soaked it in something, and the cops were to knock on your door and say you can't do that, you're going to have a lot more people going potentially to jail because you used it wrong. Like I like, for example, for me, I'm a smoker of cigarettes. I smoke cigarettes. I can smoke that, but you can also chew tobacco. You can also, I don't know if you can inhale it. I would not advise anybody to do that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, because it's fully legal. So I wonder how you're going to fight this, because it's going to open a lot of leeway for people who can and want to question the validity of the law. Because they're going to be like, well, bud is legal. I can use it however I want. You can't tell me I can't inject it if I so choose to, right?
That's the thing. They can, right? If you change it. So that's the thing. You can't take the weed that you're buying. I don't even know if you could. You can't take the weed you buy at the cannabis store and then go home and turn it into, you know, marijuana butter. I don't know if it's even possible.
Well, it's possible. And I will be doing it.
That's the thing. And then I have to say this. I am in full agreement with Arthur on this, because if that's the case, it's a very fucked way of legalizing marijuana.
Yeah, it is. It was not done the right way. Like,
no, it's
I'm
not.
happy that it's becoming legalized. I'm happy that a lot more people are going to have access to it without being afraid or having the stigma.
But not everybody smokes it.
Well, that's it. And that's my worry. And I still think that they should have just made it an open market, because, like, I remember when they first talked about it, I'm like, oh my God, I could open up a little, you know, tea shop with tea and cookies and oh my God, you can make so much money. You wouldn't even have to be open all week long. You could be open like 3 days a week.
We were saying this last year.
Yeah.
We were saying this last year, but apparently that's not valid. See, I'm kind of pissed off.
I'll have to move to New Brunswick.
Well, but see, I'm kind of pissed off now, because the feds, the big law, right? Big top guys say it is completely legal, but the state, or in your guys' case, the provinces are saying, no, you cannot. But if you go to New Brunswick, it's a different story. That's fucked. Because in my opinion,
it should be consistent countrywide.
Absolutely.
But to me, as an American, can I just say this? As an American, to me, that's terrible.
But you're going through the same thing right now. Other than it's not legal federally, your states are making their own laws. So if it ever does become legal in a blanket in America,
think it will in 10 years. I really do.
I think so too at some point. If it does become legally in a blanket across, you know, America,
that's fine.
Now you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to have all these different laws in each state that are going to have to be reconciled, right?
I wouldn't want, as a consumer, I don't do any recreational drugs. I smoke cigarettes and I'm high off of life all the time, so I don't need anything else. But
such a liar. He does the heroin to stay skinny.
Oh my God. But for me, I would be pissed if I was a consumer, because I don't want to have to go all the way to fucking New Brunswick to have to try the tea. What the fuck? I have the stuff right here.
Trust me, I'm not happy. I'm
so pissed off about this for you, because I didn't know this little small detail. It's actually got me a little annoyed now.
Yeah.
No, it's
one good thing I will say, for people who are gonna go legally and not go to the drug dealers, people like myself that are kind of always been, you know, when they came in and taught us the just say no to drugs and taught us about how drugs were bad as a teenager. I drank that tea, trust me. And I was afraid. I remember my dad telling me about a guy who got PCP in his marijuana and he peeled off his skin with a knife. And so I was just scared of all that shit for sure, 100%. So, you know, people like myself are going to trust that the government hasn't given us tainted, you know, marijuana that's going to make us high on PCP.
I hope not.
Right?
I hope not.
Again,
but all these outbreaks.
There's so many small little details that they're overlooking they're going to remain illegal, that are going to fuck people. So buying bud or flower will be legal. Possessing seeds will be illegal. Well, guess where marijuana seeds come from? The fucking flower.
4 plants per household. So how are you going to get the seeds?
Exactly, right?
Crazy. But the loophole here that the government has, or at least the province of Ottawa, or am I saying this right? I'm sure I'm wrong. Ontario. I was close enough. It was
it's okay, Ryan. It's okay.
Province of Ontario. That's really fucked because you're telling me that I have the ingredients to, if I went to fucking New Brunswick and fucking all of a sudden steeped this in hot water and drank this, it'd be fine, but I can't do this here. That's stupid shit.
Yep.
That's some shit right there.
I wonder, will I be able to pick up my seed packs at Home Depot?
No.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying this way, because, for any listener who's a little bit confused, like I am maybe, because you have to compare this to something like cigarettes and alcohol, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You can't compare this to anything else. You can't compare this to insurance. You can't compare this to banking laws and whatnot per state. You have to compare this to something legal like cigarettes and alcohol. You can do as you please with it. You don't have this, at least as far as I'm aware, in all 50 states. You can do as you please. You want to put it up your butt and fucking do it that way, go right on ahead. But you can't do that apparently in certain provinces. I think that's really fucked, and I dislike the way that's being handled.
You should write a strongly worded letter to the Ontario government, Marley.
I will.
Why am I calling you Marley?
Yeah, I was just wondering the same thing. That's the quickest way to become Canadian, is write a strongly worded letter to somebody in Parliament.
I will say though, Arthur, I think this will have to change because that's really fucked.
Yeah,
certain states will all of a sudden go, what the fuck? You'll see a shift of people going, I'm leaving, Ontario, I'm going to Alberta.
An end to like 420 protests and stuff like that. That's still going to happen in Ontario because there's still more places to go with the legalization of marijuana.
Of course.
The fact of the matter is legalization is only being thrown around now because we know that marijuana is a viable medicine.
Yes.
Right? That's the whole fucking thing behind this, is we know for a fact that marijuana is a viable medicine for like glaucoma or fucking some cancer patients or people with migraines or anxiety, seizures, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many things. So that's why legalization came to the table. Now, to tell me that it's also legal recreationally, but there's all these fucking, all these stipulations, no, go fuck yourself. Like, go fuck yourself. Then it's not legal, is it?
No.
Now,
Patty says legalize mushrooms.
I mean, sure. That one carries a heavy fucking charge if you're caught with it.
Yes.
I'd be too scared to do that.
That's literally an attempted murder charge if you're caught with those.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it's a penicillin load that's so fucking high that if you give
I
someone
didn't
who's allergic,
know that.
they'll die. Like, they'll flat fucking die.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought it was mushrooms, right? I didn't know there was like
antibiotics. I mean, little bit of drugs 101 from Arthur here. Mushrooms don't actually get you high. When you take magic mushrooms, you're actually poisoning yourself, and what the high is your body going, oh my god, I'm dying, because you poisoned yourself. Yeah, it's not a drug.
Scary. I know. I don't
that's why the class in New York State, I can say that there's ways of them classifying drugs, and I think mushrooms, and there's another one, I forget which one, or 3 others in that category that are like so bad. You get caught, it's like automatic jail time.
You're fucked. Yeah, it's the same here. I mean, whatever. I don't give a fuck. This was years ago. So I bought a big bag of mushrooms and we went camping. And fucking these asshole kids came up on our site, and I passed them my bong. All of a sudden, fucking camp warden jumps out the fucking woods, arrests these kids, and I'm literally sitting here on like 50 years worth of jail time. Like, I'm not even fucking with you. I'm talking a big fucking bag of magic mushrooms. So I ditch him under the tent, and I'm literally in fucking tears as the cops roll in and shit. Like,
oh
it was
my
one of the
God.
scariest times in my fucking life.
Yeah.
But I was high as fuck, so I didn't really realize it until I came down a little bit on how close I was to, you know, currently be sitting in fucking prison.
Well, when someone had explained to me what Molly was, because, you know, I kept hearing about this Molly thing. I was like, who's Molly? What is she doing? What is she famous for? Again, I'm so not in with the times. You guys would never think I was 28. And I kept hearing about, they were like, oh, Molly's E. I'm like ecstasy? They're like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I was like, wow. They have names now. And then, so, okay, in gay lingo, Tina is, I think I've told you this, Tina is crystal meth, yes. Yeah. And then Gina is, do you know what Gina is, Arthur?
That would be GHB, is it not?
No, Gina, I want to say it's coke or crack. I don't know.
Oh.
It's either coke or crack. Gina is the other thing. But they have names. They have different names.
Do the gay guys still do poppers?
Yes. That's legal, by the way. Poppers are legal.
I know. You buy them at the convenience store.
Yeah, they're legal. I've never tried them. I don't even know what it does.
I remember hearing about those. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'll never forget. Okay, so funny story about this is, I shouldn't be telling us what I have. I had a hookup from Grindr. And he was like, do you do poppers? I'm like, I don't know what that is. And he was like, it's basically acetone. You guys know what acetone is, right? It's the nail polish remover.
Yeah.
With like a ball in it and you snip it. I'm like, why would you fucking snip that, you weirdo?
How is that legal anyway? Like, you can't, I mean, you have to be like fucking 16 to buy the, you know, the paint cans at the like Walmart spray cans.
That's what I'm saying. This is my thing. This is just the United States government going back into the whole marijuana thing. We have so many legal stuff that you can buy that people are literally abusing. The opioid crisis does not just involve illegal drugs. A lot of it is legal drugs that are prescribed by the doctors, and we're over prescribing.
Remember when Demi Moore OD'd on Whippets?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, even that.
What a waste of whipped cream, you dumb bitch.
Duster. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Duster, but it's literally fucking compressed air. Yeah, it's literally compressed air, and you just break off the straw and you start huffing that shit.
That shit is cold. Doesn't that kill, like, hurt you?
It's fucked, but
I had that on my finger, and it like cold burned for a long time.
That's legal with no fucking restrictions. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But this is my thing. Well, actually, some drugs here, well, legal drugs, should I say? Some legal drugs here, they have you sign in order for you to buy, and you have to show ID, and they
narcotics,
yeah, like Sudafed and shit like that.
Yeah, Sudafed, Claritin.
Because you can use those to make meth, right?
Yeah, Sudafed's using meth. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know this because so I have severe allergies all year round. I used to take Claritin D until I was told that that's what they used to make meth. I'm like, well, what part of it makes meth? They're like, the decongestant part, which makes you super hyper. I'm like, that's the shit that gives me anxiety, and I've been taking this my whole life. They're like, yes, you should stop taking it. So people, be careful.
Or talk to your doctor before you just start taking that stuff too.
Self-medicated is not good.
So anyway, we'll keep you updated on what's happening with legalized marijuana. I'm sure Drugs with Arthur 101 will be our next podcast coming up. Sister Patty and I both suggested.
Can I do all the drugs before the show?
Arthur, please.
I don't condone that. So
I would like for you to be alive.
I'll be alive. I mean, fuck.
You'll be like running around the room, not even on the show.
Yeah, I mean, you just might have to hear me do cocaine push-ups for the next 40 minutes.
I just have to say, he fucking educated the shit out of me with that.
I know, me too.
So pissed, like royally pissed right now about that.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna put something in your body, you best know what it is and what the potential side effects are. Do you know what I mean?
True.
You better know what the fuck it is before you're gonna stick that in your fucking body. And I made sure to know what the fuck it was I was putting in me. As horrible as it was, and as wrong as I was for doing most of it, I was at least educated about what what toxic bullshit I was ingesting.
Okay, so let's talk about this next story because. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I think Arthur and I have the same mindset on this, but we'll see. So, an 11-year-old girl was being bullied in her Edmonton area school.
Okay.
So she was being bullied, and her mom saw on a Facebook group that there's a group of bikers that are anti-bullying and they support bullied children. So she reached out to them, and then they rode her daughter to school to protect her from bullying.
In the act of bullying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like the whole image behind the biker fucking aesthetic is we're big, we're bad, you don't fuck with us. You're essentially bullies just by looking the way you are.
You mess with her, we're gonna kick your teeth.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna combat bullying with bullying, which we've all been saying the entire time. If you're bullied, just smack the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
this is what is so stupid to me is like I don't know if these guys are affiliated with an actual biker gang or if they're just part-time biking guys. But if they're you know, if they have their colors or their whatever you want to call them, their affiliations, do we really want these people mingling with our children? Like, sorry, I don't really support any kind of biker gang. No. They're human traffickers, they're drug dealers, and they're criminals. And
you know, no matter how many...
it's true. I'm not saying all of them, but anyone that's affiliated with Hell's Angels or Satan's Toys.
You know, no matter how many toy drives they do over Christmas, it doesn't negate the fact that they are drug dealers and murderers and shit like that. They're not people I personally want to fuck with, but at the same point in time, like, I'm not going to deny the fact that, you know, they're less than savory fucking characters.
Can I just say this though? I'm very surprised by you guys.
Why?
Because I mean, yes, they don't really have the best color, if you know what I'm saying, but I think that was kind of cool.
Yes and no. I mean, yes, it's good to know. Well, it's nice to know that somebody stuck up for this little girl who felt, you know, helpless and shit. That's a beautiful thing. But again, to do it on the back of an image, because I'm only going to address the image of somebody who the reason why you have, you know, the respect, and I'm using air quotes here, is because you're fucking bullies. You know what I mean?
Your reputation is people that ride into town and, you know, fuck shit up and and, you know, murder you.
I mean, good for this little girl. Good for this little girl, but no, I can't support that.
And here's the other thing. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, and I didn't really bully anybody. One person that I did bully and I was not nice to. Beyond that, I didn't really bully people. But let me tell you, once the bikers left, we would have fucked this little girl up. We would have called her names. We would have pushed her down. We would have knocked her books on the ground. We would have fucked her up so bad. I'm telling you, we would have. We were fucking vicious.
Can I have a little bit of a soliloquy after Arthur says what he's going to say? Go ahead.
Well, that's the whole thing with bullies is, again, your only cause of action is to put that fucking bully in their place. You, the bullied, has to put that fucking bully in their place, or it's never going to stop. It's never going to fucking stop. Doing something like that, I'm in complete agreement with Jacqueline. Once they were gone, I mean, it'd be...
They can't come to class with you.
Right? I'd turn that knob up to fucking 11, and you know, I mean, it's sad to say, but...
We would have retaliated so badly. And I'm not, I mean, I didn't go to a school. I mean, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, but we weren't like hooligans. But, you know, we were shitty kids, like all kids.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't know what, maybe I am very out of touch with the current climate of growing up because I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
I hope that's not funny. I'm not trying to be funny. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But so I went to school in a very, very rough neighborhood. I mean, it was rough. You know, this is Jamaica, Queens. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens when we moved to the United States.
In the early 2000s,
Early 2000s, yes. I mean, yes, I was bullied. I was called names, whatever, but we all did. And it's like, I don't really give a shit. Then again, that's my attitude. I don't give a shit. My point kind of is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but and I hate to say this, and I hope you guys correct me if you think this is wrong what I'm saying, but I kind of feel like sometimes kids are just not able to take in a little bit of a joke.
Well, no.
Maybe.
Oh, no. We talked about that the other day with the class clown shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I do get upset when I hear things like this. And it's not because I'm grown up now and it's like, oh, you're such a piece of shit. You can't take a joke. But even at work, first of all, I am not PC. I don't give a shit. I will say bitch, heifer, all this stuff. I don't care. You know, because plus it's my coworkers. We have that rapport. But I cannot imagine. My mentality is this. If you're the one being sensitive, the problem is you, not the others.
Yep.
I remember when Logan first came to the school, his grade school. He came in grade 4. And we were walking home one day, and 3 boys who lived on the street were walking ahead of us. And he's like, I don't like them, Mom. That guy is a bully, pointing to the big kid. And he was a big kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's a bully. Why? He's like, oh, he threw a pencil at me and he hit me on the head one time. I'm like, he hit you on the head? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, what happened? Right? And he told me the story. And I'm like, I mean, it didn't really come across as bullying to me. It seemed like the kid was joking. And then another time we're walking and he came running up and he grabbed Logan around the shoulder. And he's like, Logan. And he like nuggied him. Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, Logan, he likes you. That's how he's showing. But Logan has, we didn't know at the time, part of Logan's learning disabilities is a hard time reading body language.
Okay.
So I think that was part of it. I don't think it translated to understanding because he came from a school where it was kind of like Hard Knocks, where they were fighting and kicking each other in the face and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think he understood. And I think that's, sometimes the parent has to listen and try to dissect it and not just automatically be like, what the fuck,
I agree.
Everything's bullying.
Yeah,
everything is bullying.
Yeah.
No kid can give another kid a hard time without somebody going, oh, you're a fucking bully. No teacher can fucking reprehend a kid without being, oh, you're a fucking bully. No parent can fucking discipline their kid without being called a fucking bully. Fuck out of here. Grow some thicker skin. It's not going to go away. You need this type of adversity in your life.
But just even, I felt so bad for my coworker because he didn't know that he didn't know that that I'm gay. No, that I'm gay.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, he had said something that I did not think was offensive whatsoever. He was just like, it's just weird to me. Ryan, please don't take any offense to that. And I looked at him and I was like, not at all. I don't think I said, thank you so much, Simon. I didn't need to say it, but you know what I mean. Simon, I was like, I don't think it's offensive. I think if anything, you're trying to educate yourself. He's like, of course. He was then, my other coworker had called him into the office and spoke to him about it. And he came at me. I said, why are you apologizing? He's like, well, I felt so bad. I hope you're not uncomfortable. I said, what? For what? I said,
well, because some people in your position would take offense and it would be a human relations nightmare.
But that's the fucking climate of the world we live in.
But that's so terrible because I don't think it's offensive whatsoever.
And then you got an asshole like Eric at my work who runs around saying everything and nobody can do anything about it.
Which is blatant racism.
Yep.
Racism, sexism, anti-Semitism,
which is funny considering, we actually have like legitimate hate speech laws here and nothing can be done about this guy fucking perpetuating hate speech. I don't know. This shit, again, to me, it's a non-issue, in all honesty. And stuff like that cheapens actual cases of real fucking bullying where somebody is being driven to fucking suicide because they cannot get away from their tormentors. No.
Which is such a thing. Like, right now, if Jacqueline and Arthur were to call me, even, and I highly doubt you guys would ever use this word on me, but the F word, not fuck, but the other F word. I call you a
fucker every day, bitch.
But you know what I mean?
No, you're right. I wouldn't say the other.
I would not even flinching because to me it's so like, maybe it's my attitude and maybe I do need to be taught a little bit differently. I just really don't care about stuff like that. But sometimes I feel so bad, especially for that coworker of mine, because he did not say anything offensively. He corrected himself right away. He asked me questions, very nice, real questions.
Yeah, and he's trying to learn from whatever he felt he made a mistake in saying. No, he wanted to learn.
Did not know, because he did not know. He was like, well, how does it work? How does this work? He was just asking real honest questions.
You don't have anybody, you might not know anybody, so you're asking those questions. Like, I always had this question I asked my black friend, and I was like, I'm like, listen, I'm 100% not trying to be racist when I say this, but when I cash out black people, they buy so much beverages. Like, if they spend $60, $40 is in beverages. And I'm like, I never, are they more thirsty or they just don't drink water? Like, I don't understand. And they were just like, no, we just, we come from the tropics and we're used to drinking juices and pops and Gatorades and stuff.
I make jokes about Filipinos all the time.
I know, that was the most racist thing I could ever have said.
As a Filipino, I make
why y'all so thirsty?
As a Filipino, I make Filipino jokes all the time, right? Like, I always say, most Filipinos, if you ever meet them, are going to be nurses or accountants or some, really like official job. And one time I was scolded for that, saying, well, I know a Filipino that's not educated, you can't say that. I'm like, I was making a joke. I didn't mean for that to come off offensively whatsoever. And I feel like it's just so sensitive nowadays to talk about anything that has anything to do with race, with sexuality, with You know what I mean? Like stuff that are maybe
well, that's it. It's a hypersensitive time. Can I make one more point? I just want to make about these bikers. My worry is about when we keep seeing these bikers do this. And like I said, I know their hearts are in the right places, but I feel like we're normalizing bikers.
Yep.
And what would be the reaction if we had a group of Crips escorting somebody to school?
Well, that's always been the funniest fucking thing to me, is that people seem to negate the fact that these guys are on the same level as an MS-13 or the Crips or the Bloods or the fucking Latin Kings.
I have so many Facebook friends who promote Hell's Angel merchandise on their Facebook pages.
Support 81. Support 81. Why? Why do I want to be associated with people that have committed fucking legitimate terrorist attacks on my fucking country's soil? No.
Explosions.
Right?
But see, that's the thing, Arthur, that you guys just educated me on something about bikers. You know, I because the biker person that I knew was very, very nice.
Oh, they're sweet.
They're wonderful people.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like we talk about the immigrants that are in jail because they have these supposed tattoos, even though they're probably and hopefully really added the lifestyle. Yeah. But we never talk about like bikers and like real terrorists within our soil. And I think that's a little bit sometimes too, not to make anything political. I'm not making a political point. It's just simply an observation that we don't talk about this because maybe to some people, it's because their last names may not have a different tone or
they're white.
You know,
the whole fucking thing is because they're white.
100% because they're white.
They're white. They fucking salute whatever fucking
they're your
flag
cousins
they're under.
Or your brother. Right? They're people know them. Like I grew up and we knew bikers too. I mean, I was never close friends with a biker, but we knew them. Like, oh, there's Jimmy. He's in Satan's Choice. Everybody knew.
My neighbor's a Hell's Angels member.
Yeah,
this sweet fucking dude. I don't fucking support it. You know what I mean? But again, it's because they're white, it's because they're patriotic, and it's because they do all those things that, like, let's face it, most conservative people fucking, you know, really, really value. So they look past these fucking idiots. Yeah. And, you know, and then they're, oh, well, the Bloods are this and the fucking, well, I mean, I've seen Bloods and Crips and boy drags too. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
I watched a fucking video. It was a documentary on the Latin Kings where they had this huge block party and had a barbecue for all the fucking disenfranchised people in their little New York fucking borough. Yeah. But yet, I'm still supposed to look at them as fucking murderers and fucking lowlives. Why? Because they're fucking Mexican descent? Suck my dick. Yeah. Like, you're all fucking gang members. You're not anyone that I'll ever give any
respect. If you're selling drugs and you're running women and children, you're a criminal. I don't care what color your skin is.
This puts into perspective for me. I talked to you about this friend before, Jacqueline, who, because her husband's part of Hell's, you know, Angels. And I think I told you the story about how she used the C word, coon, on the girl who was at the Halloween
party. I didn't
know
that. That's shocking.
Yeah, and I'm just putting this into perspective now. See, I never knew that kind of a history, I guess, and that's kind of really sad because, again, and this is not just me, and I'm assuring a lot of people, this is probably a lot of us. Because of the color of their skin, we probably never would have thought they were a part of a gang.
And the thing too about biker gangs is they're, I mean, like in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, that was kind of like their biggest heyday. Not to say that they're gone, but that's when everybody wanted to be in a biker gang. So every guy, every kind of scuzzy girl and guy was trying to get affiliated. Now it's not quite as much. So it's not, you know, people don't see them as these huge groups of hundreds of people driving through towns and, you know, messing shit up. Now they're in movies and they're funny. Ha ha ha! Look, Wild Hogs. It's funny, you know.
I don't know, because Sons of Anarchy definitely fucking piqued a lot of people's interest in it again. And, you know, it was one of the things that I really didn't appreciate about that show is because they did kind of glorify the fucking criminal aspect of it. Yeah. Now, me, being me, I don't really like cop dramas and shit like that. I always went more towards the real crime shit. Shows like Oz or The Wire, because that's, you know, to me, that's real life. But I cannot.
You should watch Weeds. Did you ever watch Weeds? That was good.
I did, but I thought it was pretty dumb. But anyway, like, I can't ever support glamorizing criminals. Yeah. Even The Sopranos. Yeah. The Sopranos is one of the best shows I ever watched, but it kind of glorified and normalized these fucking mobsters. Now, I'm supposed to sit there at the end of the show and feel bad that fucking, you know, Tony and his family got murdered? Well, no, you're fucking crooks. You're crooks. I don't give a shit.
Well, this is a topic for me that kind of just I have to say, I wish you guys could see my face. You would probably be laughing at how astounded I am right now.
Because a lot of times you don't think about it, right?
I mean, like, about it that way.
You don't really think about biker gangs that much. That's not your gang, right?
No. In this case, the reason why I'm a little bit flabbergasted because it hits close to home and it explains a lot of things for me that I'm like, oh my fucking god! No fucking wonder I thought that person was a little racist.
Well, that too. You know, I don't want to say the name of said biker club because they are one of the most violent ones operating in the U.S. and a few sects here in Canada. But they have a strict, like, if you're not white, like if you're not fucking, you know, they're essentially.
Oh, you're talking about the big one in Quebec?
Again, I'm not going to say who.
No, you don't say the name.
But yes, they operate a little bit in Quebec, and they definitely operate out in Alberta.
Okay.
And you know, they're very, very, very strict on the fact that, like, they're just racist. They all have swastikas tattooed on them. They ride around with fucking old,
they're not
in plain sight with old SS fucking symbols and shit like that on them.
Yeah.
And yet they do a toy drive. So I'm supposed to look at them as kind-hearted, fucking patriotic
That's
Canadians?
what I'm saying. No. Oh, they do so much for the community. Sure. And they also smuggle guns, and they also sell heroin, and they also traffic women.
And they drive around with symbols that are going to cause a lot of fear and a lot of insecurity. In
let me tell you, when I was driving down east, when we passed bikers, I'd be like, do not look at the bikers. Look straight ahead. Because I don't know. If they're not wearing their colors, I don't know what the fuck they are.
My guy was such a, you know, my old client, I won't mention his name. He would come in every single time. Now I know why he was probably paying in cash. He was paying cash. He was the sweetest man. He would never let anybody hurt me because I told him a story about how a client called me the F word and threatened my life. He stood outside right before I was about to leave. No fucking wonder this motherfucker was so fucking sweet.
Well, that's it. When they like you, when they like you, they'll protect you. Like they love you, but you know, don't cross them.
Well, that's it. What happens if you do something they don't agree with? You want to end up in a burn barrel? You know, I don't look at these people any differently than I look at a fucking member of the Los Zetas cartel. Yeah. Like, in all honesty, I don't. I
have the same standard as well.
You know what I mean? Like, you've set off bombs in public that have killed innocent people. I have no respect for you. You have literally put people in burn barrels. I have no respect for you.
Mass murders.
Right? I don't give a fuck about how nice you are. I don't give a shit about your charitable bullshit that you're using to fucking fix your image and an image that you fucking earned. I mean, let's not forget about fucking the Stones hiring HA to do security. You know what I mean? Like, and people want to tell me, no, they're not that. They're not that. They literally stabbed a black guy to death for nothing more than being black.
But
this
is also the point that I've been making about a lot of people. I apparently had said something that was pretty controversial around my friends. And I was like, I'll never respect anybody who is a part of the KKK. And especially now in...
How's that controversial?
No, that should just be a baseline.
Wait, no. Let me finish the story to you guys because this is around that person whom I was referring to. I don't want to mention their name either. And she was like, her name starts with a D, just to give you a perspective, Jacqueline, so you can remember. Okay. And she said to me, well, why is that? Blah, 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 but they've done so much good and da-da-da-da. And I said, because what they stand for is not something I can believe in. They are homegrown terrorists. They have killed.
Doesn't matter if they raise $1 million for poor children. They still stand for hate and the ending of people of color in America.
Yeah,
right?
But this is
do we give leeway for people that were born into it? Do you know what I mean? To me, this kind of draws parallels to even the Cotter argument. In a sense, obviously not crimes committed, whatever. But if I'm supposed to forgive him because his father indoctrinated into him, I should also have to forgive people that grew up in a place.
Children.
You know,
but as you grow up, you see movies and you go to school and you are interacting. You know, once you get to be about 16. Once you get to be about 16, no matter how indoctrinated you are, you should be able to open a book and educate yourself.
You know, I had this conversation a little while ago about people with racist tattoos. Now, obviously, the conversation predominantly hung around white people with swastika tattoos. And now I asked this simple question. I thought it was at least simple. Now, we know for a fact, especially in American prisons, that if you go to jail, you have one of two choices. Either team up with your race or fucking go it alone and probably die.
You have to.
So should I look at every person with a fucking swastika tattoo as a complete fucking write-off as a human being? No, I can't, because I don't.
You have to know their story,
right? But now, if I see somebody with a fucking 3-piece patch on their back, I know they earned it. You can't be born in that. You have to fucking go through the steps.
Even if your mom and daddy are bikers, you still have to earn it.
It doesn't matter. You have to fucking earn it. So it's, you know.
Yeah.
But this is my thing. People like, and I hope I'm not outing you on anything, Arthur. People like Arthur who consider themselves to be a little bit more conservative.
Yep.
We would label this guy, who's not a part of any gang that I'm aware of, Arthur, as a racist.
Yeah.
But he's the furthest from that.
Yeah.
Number one, at least from my personal opinion, especially because of the conversations we have off there and stuff. Patriotic as fuck. Yet a guy who's maybe kind of shady in character, and I have known to have made comments that were extremely racist. We don't, because he's, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I hope you guys know where I'm going with this.
Well, I think this is part of the problem right now. A lot of white people are angry because we're being told by people of color, and it's not me, I'm just saying I know this is how a lot of white people feel. We're being told by people of color that we can't feel racism. I
can't experience racism because racism is prejudice plus power, and that's some absolute fucking nonsense. Because I have been the victim of a fucking hate crime many times in my life for nothing other than being white in the wrong fucking neighborhood. So there's no amount of evidence, there's no amount of fucking moving the goalpost that's ever going to make me agree with that. You know what I mean? That's just because of my own anecdotal evidence. And if I have to accept other people's anecdotal evidence, you best be fucking accepting.
Well, I mean, what you experience is what you experience. That's all you can base your life on, right? Is what you experience.
But to tell me that, like, as an overbearing white people can't experience racism, no, go fuck yourself.
Well, but for me, having had been around you guys, and hopefully, you know, we do get to all meet up and stuff. But having been around you guys, number one, I've never felt uncomfortable. But I will say I have been around a crowd of majority, of course, white people as well, or all white people except myself. And I have been. It seems like sometimes when I do sit down in a car with them and we're all talking, the one thing that's always brought up is the fact that I'm not white. And I always go, why is that a conversation?
It's not necessary.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of subtle racism that white people have. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. But what I'm saying is that we know that even in like Black culture, there's hate towards somebody who's not the right color black or who's not the right hair texture. In Asian, you know, Filipinos hate this group of Asians, Japanese hate Chinese, Koreans hate everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like
implicit bias.
Racism in everything.
Because that's what that term, that's the actual term for what you're referring to, is called implicit bias. It exists in every race, in every religion, in every fucking, even sexual orientation.
Even in white people, right? Everybody hates the Polish.
We all have an implicit bias. Now, what that means is that we all have racist thoughts that we don't understand are racist. Even having the trope, like a stereotype in your head that all Asian women are bad drivers.
Yeah.
Regardless if 99.99% of the female Asian drivers that you've encountered were piss poor drivers, it still makes you a racist, right? Because that's fucking bullshit. There can't be a billion fucking Asian women on Earth and every single one would be a piss poor driver.
No one would be driving anywhere in Asia.
You know what I mean? That's absolute fucking nonsense.
One traffic accident.
Right? That's called implicit bias. And we all have it. We are all fucking victims.
We're all guilty. Yeah, I do think to some degree we're all guilty of it. It's just that what I think some people don't realize is there's subtle racism that they have that they do not realize is so obvious in them too, because a lot of the times for me, conversation starts with, oh, so you're an immigrant. Oh, so you're blah, blah, blah.
I never said that to anybody in my life. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I mean, I hear these stories all the time. Right? Like people ask me, what's your background or where are you from or when did you come to, you know, North America? I've never asked that. Like, unless somebody starts talking like, oh, I went home to, you know, Bangladesh for a visit. Oh, cool. How long have you been? You know, that's when I would bring it up. I would never out and out say, what's your background? That's bizarre to me.
See, no, I'm different because if I meet anybody new, I'll always ask them the same thing. So where are you from? And then it's not because I don't give a fuck where you're from. It's always to gauge their response, to see if they go from their ancestral home or
If they're like, oh, I grew up in Scarborough.
You know what I mean? Oh, I live on Bay Street. Then I'm like, okay, you're a fucking person I can talk to. But if immediately you either go on the defensive or you're like, you start breaking down your fucking lineage to me.
Oh, no, that's too much. Yeah,
There's things here that I can't approach because this is how this person thinks. But that's just me. And
that's a great point, Arthur. When I am asked, where are you from? My response is, and I have been laughed at by so many people when my response is, I'm from Flushing. They're like, oh, no, I mean country.
America.
America. Yeah.
And then when they're like, no, but oh, yeah, Filipino. I have to break it down 3 times because when you ask where I'm from Flushing.
Exactly.
I'm from New York.
Well, at least if they really want to ask your heritage, oh, what's your family's heritage? Something like that. I can see people asking. People ask me that too. Like, why are you Greek? No, I'm not Greek. I'm this, right?
Well, that too. And I mean, I've always kind of noticed especially with Americans, that there's always this issue of labeling yourself as your ancestral home, right? Even as far as white people are concerned, you have to be Polish American, Scottish American, Irish American, Italian American, right? You can't just say I'm American, right? Yeah. And to me, that's a fucking huge piss off.
But you should just be. See, this is the thing. I'm one of the very first fighters that I always say, and I said it at work. I hate it when people call a black person African American because they're not from Africa.
No, they're American.
They are born and raised in the United States. They are American.
Africans.
Yeah,
right.
We're one of the only countries that still have to label a black person African American or a Chinese person Chinese.
They've been unless they're actually from the continent of Africa. Black people have been in America for 400 years.
I'd like to think maybe they're more like South African American or Ghanaian American.
Yeah, something like that. I'm Jamaican American. I'm, what I mean? That's different. But if your family's been in America for 200 years, you're American.
Yeah,
I don't care whether you're Irish descent. You can say I'm Irish descent. I did my DNA test, and this is what my descent is. I'm Canadian. You would never hear me say French Canadian or Ukrainian Canadian or whatever. I'm Canadian.
My ex Sean has always said, "Oh, I'm just," but like his mom is from Ireland. His father's first generation. He's like, I'm American. He's the last one to say I'm Irish American, and he has more reason to say he's Irish American because he holds an Irish passport. But the other person whom I was with would easily break down his whole lineage, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to be proud of your lineage and be like interested in it, right? Oh, I have some German and there's some, Native American. I get that. But, we're not, we shouldn't be still defined by what our family was when they came here years ago.
If the metric is where you're from, then that means that is where you're born, correct? Right? So if the whole metric is I'm Irish American, well, were you born in Ireland? No, then you can't say you're Irish because now we're using nationality as the metric.
Exactly.
So if the metric is nationality, where the fuck were you born? America? You're American. I don't give a fuck about your racial ancestry. I don't give a shit about that. That's not what I'm asking you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And again, when I ask you where you're from, that's more to gauge your fucking response. So I know topics of conversation I should stay the fuck away from before I get insanely angry.
The other thing, let me say, I used to work with this guy named Gary. His last name, I won't say his last name, but he had a Portuguese last name. Now, he was from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And people would say to him, well, what's your real name? And he'd say, Gary. And they're like, no, what's your Pakistani name? And he's like, it's not Gurinder, it's Gary. It's my name is Gary.
No, but but
people would say that to him.
Yeah. But that's the most offensive thing you can ever do. I've had that happen to me, and that's actually brought me to tears.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget my very first, client, big client, had huge accounts with us. And I was like, oh, my name is Ryan. Oh, okay. So Ryan, I'm going to come into the office and speak to you about blah, blah, blah. So he came in and was like, I'm looking for Ryan. I'm like, oh, that's me. And my business cards and everything clearly says Ryan. In our company, the company that I work for, you can put your nickname in just to kind of ease everything up for you and the clients as well, right?
Yeah.
He was like, well, as he was leaving, he's like, what's your real name? I said, Ryan. He's like, no, your real name, Ryan. And my coworkers all kind of stood up and started to become defensive because they were feeling the racism coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, my name is Ryan. He's like, no, I would like your real name because I think it's, what was it that he said? Because I think it's unprofessional of you to go by a nickname. I want to make sure that He's like, I want to make sure
you're an unprofessional.
And your money is going to come into your real name. And I will never forget running into the bathroom, sobbing hysterically because I felt very harassed.
God. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. And I'm like, my name, I mean, honestly, my name really, I kind of feel like Gary. My name really is Ryan. Like, there's no lies about that. That's my birth certificate name, too.
See, at that point, you should just make up some really racist fucking Asian trick of a name. You know what I mean? Just to fucking satiate. Yeah, exactly. Just to satiate these fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Like, my name's Lee Ho Chang fucking, you know, like.
Makahaya.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't even know.
Makahaya Ding Ding?
Like, I don't even fucking know. Like, because I can't even be that fucking racist. You know what I mean?
It happens, and it's astounding sometimes how uneducated, because it's what it is, uneducated some people are, and how they respond to you when you tell them, you know, this is blah, blah, blah. Do I make jokes and say, oh my God, some people's names are just so unpronounceable? Yes, I do. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. And yes, that is probably very wrong of me. And I'm fortunate enough to have a name that's easily pronounced by most people.
Sometimes, like, let's face it, like when you're coming from some countries, like the Bangladeshi names and the Sri Lankan names, that shit's hard. I'm sure you're wonderful people, but that's a lot of consonants and vowels my tongue's not used to saying.
Girl, I'll try.
I'll try and I'll try to learn it.
You're not exposed to it as much as a Bangladeshi would be. So you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's another thing.
People who can't say the last name I have. I went to get a stress test done, and I had a guy, I don't even know what he was, some brown guy, and he was very nice. He did a great job, but he could not say the last name Fraser.
Yeah.
Was I offended? Absolutely not.
Well, no, but it's not even just, okay, so you went to the brown spectrum. Go to the white spectrum and just talk about some of these.
Oh, people don't say Fraser either. They call me Fraser.
Or some Greek names. Like, oh my God, I had a guy come in.
Yeah. Like, Parathenakis.
Yeah, those Greek names are a fucking nightmare.
I said to him, I can't pronounce this, sir. This is really hard. I'm going to have to call you Pete. He's like,
some French names are crazy.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Look at the Welsh. The Welsh
name.
Oh, God. Yes.
Dorsey? What the fuck is that? Like, how many more
name
fucking...
Ian with like 12 letters. You're like, what the hell? Why are you making the name Ian? Like, just I-A-N.
Like, in all honesty, I would love to have a person of color come say, what's your name? Arthur. I can't pronounce it. I'm just going to call you Daquan. Like, I would fucking love that. I would fucking love that. Like, seriously, but that's because you can't get me down. Like, fuck you and your racist shit. That to me is fucking hilarious. Bring me more.
Yeah. I'm never offended if a person of color can't say my name. I'm more offended when a white person, like, sorry, my name doesn't have an I or a Z, okay? It's not Fraser. Yeah. Fraser.
Like, get over yourself. Like, get over yourself, Karen. Like your fucking name's out there. Fuck out of here. Go knit me a pillow.
Sister Patty says she wants to say her name is F.U.
No, but this is a good topic because sometimes I like what you said, Jacqueline. I am somewhat offended sometimes when I tell white people, like white people as in like people who are not Greek or whatever, just completely white. And I tell them my name is Ryan. Like, Brian? No, there's no B.
Yeah, there's no B.
There's no B. Don't add a letter.
So I'm just going to start calling you like a different name. I'm just like Joe. Oh, no, I'll call you Bruce.
But what's your real name?
Because Bruce is like a very gay person's name. I learned that in Steel Magnolias.
Really?
Yeah, they said anybody named Bruce is gay. Remember that? Did you not ever see Steel Magnolias?
No, I didn't know that Bruce was a gay name.
Come on, like that's just as bad as saying his name has to be something fucking of Asian descent. You can't put those parameters on him either.
I mean, come on, it's Asian or gay.
Your name's not Chun-Li? Then it's Bruce because it's the gayest name I can think of. Like, fuck.
Oh, you're right. The gayest name I can think of is Frankie Grande.
No comment.
So let's end the show on that. And I had another story I want to talk about. We'll have to save it, but let me just tease it. A teacher says to the student, "Lick me where I fart." So,
is it at least attractive? Is the offer still on the table?
I have no idea. But, have a good week and think of that statement for the rest of the week. And we'll be back on Monday at 6:30.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.